We are blinded to certain things in people because we have our own biases, we have our own experiences, we project things onto people.
What's going on, everybody? Excited to be back for episode 5 of The Compass with Dr. Matthew Norton, a show about guiding growth through coaching. And these first 4 episodes been super insightful. I think actually a couple of weeks ago, I was actually sharing with Matthew that I was doing some things around the house. You know, we record these and then we kind of go about on our way or what have you. But I was actually doing some things through the house and was, checked into Spotify and was listening to one of the episodes when I was actually able to really kind of sit back and listen to a lot of the great things, Matthew, that you're sharing, and super informative. And so when I think about individuals out there that are either looking to do coaching and they need some direction from somebody like yourself who has a lot of experience with your certification program, or just want to learn more information about coaching in general, I know that's where you've been really helpful. So, want to encourage everybody, if you're an audio podcast listener, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, The Compass is out there. And then, of course, Matthew is putting this up on all of his social media channels. But Matthew, how you doing? Good to be back.
I'm doing great. It's good to be back with you. Looking forward to another one of our hopefully compelling compass conversations. Yeah, I couldn't even pull that off.
I love it. That's a lot of P's, just like coaching. I think last episode we had a lot of P's with it was like personalization and things like that. So I love it. So today's episode, strength-based coaching to develop strength-based leaders. Great topic. I think, when I was thinking about this episode, I was thinking about, people, you hear so many people talk about the importance of like leveraging your strength, making sure like that's the lane that you're working in. But from your lens, you're going to talk more about the coaching perspective and having that strength-based focus. But let's start there. For those that are listening to this episode, I know you've got some things that you want to go over. Like what do you want them to, the biggest takeaway, like after they listen to this episode?
Well, I want everybody to understand just the centrality of having this strengths-based focus for just about everything in the business. If what we're going to talk about today, if that can be applied and looking through this strengths-based lens at every part of your business, as a leader, as a team, at your systems and processes, then there will be more profitability. I mean, I just feel like it's that bottom line.
Yeah. All right. So I think a good place to start. Why is this strength-based focus so important in your business?
That's a good question. Good place to start. So in business, we want to make a meaningful contribution. We want to achieve some high-level profitability, enjoy the process, hopefully with minimal negative stress. And those business results require a team of people to be the greatest asset of the business and not just the biggest expense. And that just doesn't naturally occur for a variety of reasons. So we have to be more intentional, from my perspective, in designing and developing the people aspect of our business. Gallup, I love Gallup's work, extensive investigation work, and they created the State of the Global Workplace document from a lot of investigation worldwide across so many different industries. And what they found was that the level of employee or team member engagement is extremely low all over the planet. And they concluded approximately, give or take, different industries, different countries, about 70% of workers are not engaged in the work that they're doing each day. 70%. So approximately 30% are, but even in that 70%, some percentage of those people are actively disengaged. It's like they're not leaving. They're staying, almost, whether intentionally or not, to sabotage the business that they're working in. So So this is a problem. If we're really wanting to, as business owners, as leaders, to be able to take our business to the height of possibility, then we are likely going to need a team of people, and we really would like those people to be engaged in what they're doing as much of the day as possible. So then that kind of begs the question: what's the solution for this disengagement problem that we have? And they came up with three different key factors. And the first one of those is that we need a strengths-based workplace. Uh, People want to be seen. People want to be heard. They want to be recognized for the uniqueness of who they are and uniquely what they bring to the workplace. They want to have a voice. They want to be able to share their ideas. They don't just want to be uh, doers of tasks with nothing else, and for them to be able to deliver at the highest level and to thrive, they need to be delivering in those areas where they have some more innate strengths. So a strengths-based workplace is the first one, and then the second one was a purpose-driven versus just a paycheck-driven mission. And these really all relate to each other. When you have a more purpose-driven mission and then can begin to combine that with a recognition of your strengths and how do those strengths fit in with this mission, then we've got even greater power. And then the third one was that there's a culture of ongoing growth and development. But what is that ongoing growth and development? It might just be, informational, technical skill set development. But no matter what it is, actually, we want it to be in line with what the strengths are of that person. We're not really trying to develop people and in their weaknesses. We're not trying to take weaker areas or places that people are, just they're not as passionate about, really, and try to improve those. We want to be able to recognize the strengths, give them the microphone to deliver on those strengths, and then we want to develop them to be the best they can in those strengths areas.
You know what's interesting? I feel like, and I'm sure you see this a lot, that when you're a little bit unsure of what those strengths are, or and maybe you don't do the best job of communicating that, it can be confusing to the marketplace. And so I'm going to use this as an example with what you're talking about on the coaching side, right? Like, how many people, Matthew, have you come across where, like, they say they do coaching, and then, okay, well, what do you coach on? And it's like this very broad brush of, like, I've helped people do this or what have you. And to your point, like, how many of them have done the work, like you shared, to really understand their strength and then connect that to exactly how they're helping people, and then make sure that their message is communicating that, so the conviction is there, their confidence is there, and there's no space, right, for people to, no gray area. It's like, I know what you do, I know what you're good at, I know what your jam is, that, and therefore, like, I have the confidence then as a customer or what have you to work with you. So last episode, you talked about personalization. And how do you tie these two together, the strength-based and the importance of knowing it, together with the personalization that you talked about last episode?
That's another great question, and good points that you were making there too, because there is a lot of generic work being done. There are so many people who are coaches. So many people who would say, "I'm a leadership coach. I'm an executive coach. I'm a team workplace culture coach." I mean, and there's nothing wrong with any of that. I use those words as well, but to the degree that it's just more generically good things that should apply to most everyone, and that's going to be sufficient. That's where I think it's a problem. It's no different than, in healthcare, for example, if whatever you did with that last patient, that was what they needed and what seemed to go perfectly well. That does not mean that when the next person comes in that you're going to repeat that same thing. It wasn't what was going to work for them. And I have people who that when I'm doing initial discovery conversations with them that will say, well, the previous coach or consultant said that in this particular area that I should approach it this way. This is what I should do if I want to have a breakthrough. This is what I should do to get my business to the next level. And I'm looking through the lens of their assessments that I have on them and saying, well, I mean, generically, that might be a good idea, but I don't really think that's going to work for you. And it would be like relief. Like I didn't feel like it was a right fit for me. So I tried and I couldn't do it. And I'll often say, well, even if you could make yourself do it, you probably wouldn't do it well. You probably wouldn't be able to sell yourself to others on that, because that's not your style. That's not where your strengths lie. So, going further with that, I think for that reason and others, that a personalized approach is really critical. We all have a unique destination, right? We are not all going to the same place in our lives, in our business. So it's a unique journey that we're all on. We have a unique group of people that are traveling that journey with us. So there's nothing to say that this business and that business should orient to their people the same way. And we have unique blockages needing unique breakthroughs depending on our business, where we are with it, and all the previous things that I mentioned. So there really has to be a unique view and unique solutions provided for each leader and each group of people that they are leading. So I love to use the Wizard of Oz as a metaphor to kind of help paint the picture of what we're doing as a team when I begin to work with them. And I think the same general thing applies for if I'm talking with somebody who is wanting to become a coach, to look through this general lens. And so in the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy and all of her friends were trying to get to the Emerald City, right? The Emerald City was a compelling destination for them that held reward, that held fulfillment for them. They had different reasons that were driving them to get there. They were looking, the answers they were each going to receive were uniquely different, which again fits with what we're talking about. But there was a compelling destination. And so as I'm looking with businesses, I'm stating that Emerald City destination to be the win for the business owner, the win for the team, the win for the people that they're serving, and then the win for the larger community of people that they would like to serve, or that they would like to at least be better because they exist in that community. And then we can look at, okay, that's where we're going. Where are we now? Because when I work with teams to clarify what that Emerald City would look and feel like, sometimes people will say, well, but that's not us. And I say, well, that's kind of the point. It's like if you're ordering an Uber car, then there's a destination you're going, and they want to know where that is. And they also want to know where they are to pick you up. So where are we starting and where are we going? And then we can work out a more customized yellow brick road to get there. Every business, every person in that business is going to have a unique part of that journey that's really going to be customized to them. And then we can begin to look at given where we are, where are we getting stuck? What sort of breakthroughs do we need for whatever blockages we're facing? And then the last piece is the unique people traveling. So I mean, in the Wizard of Oz, it wasn't people, right? It wasn't all people, but it was a unique cast of characters. And really, in most workplaces, I think it is a unique cast of characters that are aggregating together there. But as Dorothy met each of her new friends, and then together as they went on, they saw each other's weaknesses. They even could poke fun at those weaker areas, but they also came to know the strengths that each of them represented. They knew there was a recognition of, each of them were saying, if I only had, but then they were beginning to realize that they were complementary to each other, that others had some of what they needed. And and that as a team, they really traveled better together. They were actually able to make forward progress, whereas they were stuck as a scarecrow in a field or a rusted tin man, and these things that were stopping them from moving forward. So, and at the end of each scene, they were arm in arm off to see the wizard, regardless of the differences. But it was in the recognition of the strengths and their ability to be better together that helped them make that journey to ultimately get to the Emerald City.
Yeah, and I know you talk a lot about assessments, particularly your core four assessment. And I think the average person, when you speak with them, Matthew, and you ask them, what are you good at? What are your strengths? Most people can say it. Often not. I think a lot of people may not truly acknowledge what their strength is, and they don't know that, which I know that core four assessment really helps. But can you talk about specifically like how that helps somebody understand what those strengths are? It solidifies it. It gives them data. So then that helps them kind of on their road to help others. So talk a little bit about that connection with your core four assessments.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, the core four assessments are there's four. They're called core four because there's four different dimensions of people that we're exploring here, and I see them as core because if we can know these four pieces, then I feel like I can guide pretty much any part of the business journey for leaders and teams. So those are a behavioral lens. We're looking at the unique styles and strengths and behavior. We are looking at cognitive styles. There's 8 different cognitive styles, 4 different behavior styles, 8 different cognitive styles. There are 7 different inspiration sources, and then there's 5 different dimensions of emotional agility. So the emotional agility piece, much of the time, is revealing weaker areas that really do need to be improved. And so many business owners I discover have lower emotional agility, ability to navigate their emotions uh, than the team members who work for them, with them. So this is often a significant challenge. Um, so that guides clarity in ways that it would be very, very difficult to see clearly where those needs are across those 5 different emotional agility dimensions. But as far as behavior style, cognitive styles, and inspiration sources, yes, you could have a general sense behaviorally of where you're strong or not as strong, or over time with another person. But it's hard to see clearly the strengths, our own strengths, and those strengths in others, at least with sufficient nuance. We don't know enough. We're guessing, we're filling in gaps, we're going off of intuitive hunches. We're seeing parts of people. We are blinded to certain things in people because we have our own biases, we have our own experiences, we project things onto people. We imagine things to be there that are not really there because we hope that they're there. We do this in all of our relationships. People do that in people they're going to marry and then later realize they see all these different things over the years that follow that they have to decide, how are they going to navigate that? And maybe it wasn't what they were hoping for in some ways. So, not enough nuance. And also, how do they fit together? How do we see if we can gain some insight into somebody's behavior? Well, how does that fit with how they think? It's not the same thing. We want them to complement, but we want to understand how those unique pieces work together. And how does that work with specifically what are those top driving motivators that are guiding you, pushing you along that journey? So multi-dimensional assessments like the Core Four provide that needed clarity. And people will tell me on a regular basis that after I kind of debrief, apply the insights, some strategic implications, I think, from what we learn from them, they will say, wow, I mean, you know me already. We'd never met before. You know me better than people who have known me my whole life. You know me better than I think I've known myself. And I think, and I'll tell people, it's like, I do believe, yes, that I have some talent here. I have a lot of years, 26 years of experience with assessments and debriefing them. But I said I'm cheating. The way I know this about you is because I knew what questions to ask in the assessments to help draw out from you who you are in a way that if I asked you directly in a conversation, you wouldn't really necessarily know how to just off the top of your head answer me. So this kind of strength focused and the assessment insights provide guidance for so many key business elements. I mean, they can help everything from hiring for the best role fit to be able to have the best balanced, complete team fit, so that the business can get the peak production, peak performance, peak profitability results that they're looking for, because they're going to come in different ways through that unique group of people. And ultimately, the fulfillment that everybody's looking for in the work that they're trading their time and their life for. So we can really personalize those insights.
Yeah, and then finally, when you coach a specific company and you're helping them with this strength based assessment, how do you start? How do you go about that? Talk a little bit about that process.
Yeah, it's when people reach out to me, most of the time, it's with the thought of, I need some help relative to some person that's in my business that, like, maybe I could fix them. Like, if you could just fix my office manager, then all would be well with my business world, until we have a little chat about that and discover a little bit more. And there were 6 previous office managers over the last 3 years or whatever. And and then sometimes when we get to that and they start to share about that, it's like, well, so are you saying you think this could be about me? could I be part of the problem? So there's often this point of dawning awareness that that the leadership, the ownership, the leadership is a key beginning of trouble.
Mhm.
We're certainly not adequately helping solve things. So a number of years ago, I did a webinar that I titled Visionary Leader: Peak Success Starts with You, the First Hire.
Mhm.
And so if I can help get that message across as I'm talking with the visionary leader, the CEO, the owner, whoever that is, to say, if you want to reach peak success, this begins with you. And
Mhm.
you as the first hire means, would I hire you for this
Yeah.
job?
Yeah.
What strengths are you bringing? So if we start there, what are the strengths of that owner leader? Then we can begin to say how and where are some of the weaker areas we need to have. Then we can have a workaround for those weaker areas. We can begin to bring other people around you to provide those strength solutions that you're needing, so it comes off of the pressure of you having to deliver in those areas that are not your strengths. But also we can see, to accomplish these major goals we're setting out to accomplish, what other strengths do we need to bring together based upon who you are. And I
Yep.
think we might have discussed this in a previous episode, maybe not. I forget what I say where sometimes, but that just like you're building a sports team, if we had a football team, then who that quarterback uniquely is has a lot to do with what's going to work from a running back perspective.
Mhm.
What do we need as far as pass receivers and blocking ability? So all the other players, there's nuanced insights about what's needed in those people based upon this starting place of who we're calling the leader.
Yeah.
And I guess one more thing on that is that when we can have these insights, beginning at the leadership level, and we can then in discovery say, where are you going? What does this look like when we get there? What are some of the elements that need to be where we need to make changes, what are opportunities that are in front of you, maybe that we don't know how to navigate?
Mhm.
Then we can come up with strengths based breakthrough solutions. The solutions are going to be, even to the unique problems, there's still going to be unique breakthrough solutions based upon understanding who you and your team members uniquely are.
Yeah, this is such important work. Like, I mean, just, hearing you talk today, and then of course on all the prior episodes, like I think about, businesses and the things that they want to accomplish and all of that, and the challenges that they deal with on a daily basis. And then they look back 6 months and maybe there's some things they accomplished, or like in your analogy, like maybe their yellow brick road, like is some of the bricks are there, some of them are not. But I just feel like this, doing this work at the beginning, or in your case, taking the time, to do these strength-based assessments at the beginning gives so much clarity. And if anything, I mean, we've all heard the story, right? When people work in their lane, when they live and operate in their lane and their strength, it's amazing what happens. It almost feels like, as you know, Matthew, like you don't even feel like you're working. You just feel like you're on your natural course of getting things done. And so is your teammates. And then you look back and you're like, where did that come from? Well, obviously a lot of this work is the basis of that. So, great episode. Any final thoughts as we wrap? And then, as always, more and more people can learn more about the work that you're doing.
Yeah, no, I think I feel like we covered it today. I feel like those were good questions you asked, and I felt like I was able to kind of to key in there. So I just would invite everybody who's listening that if you would like to find out more as far as your strengths and maybe where some of your strengths-based breakthrough solutions might be, then I would invite you to reach out to me, and I would be happy to share with you a sample Core 4 assessment and let you try that on for size yourself and see what insights you can gain, and see from there how you might want to move forward in your life and business.
I love that. And I know in the next episode, you're putting together the final pieces of, some these weekly calls you're going to be doing, which I'm really excited about, like these discussion groups, as well as some great ideas with your assessment. So on the next episode, I know you're going to be sharing all of that, but excited to hear more about that. And as always, thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you.